Hello, I'm Amara Jones, and welcome to Caffeine TV, your daily video news brief. Here to take you through 3 headline numbers in just 3 minutes, giving you a different take on everything from housing policy to the Real Housewives. The first number up today is 126, and it should come under the title of From Russia with Love, because that's the size of a Russian military column. It's headed from Russia into Ukraine, chock full of everything that a modern conquering army needs, like tanks and armored personnel carriers. Now, that action yesterday led NATO to declare that the ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, agreed to in September, is officially dead. General Breedlove, yep, that's his name, but I guess it's better than Strange Love, NATO's military commander, did so. Now, what's interesting is that the ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine has actually been over for quite some time. They've been shooting and killing and carrying on since September, but as the New York Times spoke about today, no one really wanted to admit it. That's because here in the United States, we had an election and no one really wanted to talk about a crisis in Russia, and in Europe, their economy is in recession, and those businesses there are trying to make that paper off of Russia, and they don't want any new sanctions. But all this is occurring alongside other things that we've spoken about here on Caffeine, like the fact that Russian military aircraft have been seen harassing European airspace, and the fact that this week Russia communicated to the United States that for the first time since the Cold War, it's going to be sending nuclear bombers to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, let's just hope that with everything else going on in the world, that Russia doesn't decide to send us its love. The next number up today is 300 million. Now, that's how many miles the Rosetta spacecraft is from the Earth after depositing a probe on Comet 67P. That occurred yesterday, and we're going to get the first full images from that mission today. Now, that's the first successful mission after a string of space failures here recently, but it's only one in a string of triumphs of these space drones that have gone to places like Mars and the Moon. Now, what's interesting is, and most important, is the fact that on this mission, one of the goals is to drill down into that comet and to see whether or not there are any frozen organisms buried inside that we are possibly related to. The idea is that early in Earth's history, comets fell to the planet Earth, deposited the keys of life, and off we went. Now, this got me to thinking about the religious right. I mean, what are they going to do? For the past 100 years, they've been freaking out about the fact that we're related to apes. I mean, they've taken over school boards and banned books, trying to prevent that information from being passed on to future generations. So what are they going to do when they find out that we're possibly related to aliens? The next number up today is 0. Now, according to TMZ, that's how much Kim Kardashian was paid for her nude spread in Paper magazine, literally showing her ass, photographed by famous photographer Jean-Paul Goude. Now, Jean-Paul Goude made his career in part off of exoticizing black women, and he told People magazine back in 1979 that he had jungle fever, and in fact that pose that Kim struck was originally struck by a black woman. Now, what's interesting is that Kim's embrace of blackness comes from a person who just this year acknowledged the existence of race. She did in an article in May, but we're not going to judge. I mean, we need to embrace people's journey. But perhaps what's more disturbing is what this nude spread communicates to young women and girls at a time when there's a fierce debate about feminism and the future of women. I mean, we have a series on that here on Caffeine. Here is a woman who has built a modern empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars using traditional stereotypes of women that are age-old, tried and tested. And as a matter of fact, Kim burst into the public consciousness for the first time with her clothes off. Well, the good news for all you parents out there is that if Kim Kardashian's doll overtakes Barbie, that y'all will save money because you won't have to buy it any clothes.